It gives me much pleasure to be here. Like I said, I do not intend to make a very long speech, but essentially to re-echo what the Honourable Minister for Women had said, that a few years ago we embarked through the Ministry of Industry and Trade a initiative which was Buy Fijian Made and recognizing Fijian made products. It is very important for us to be able to understand the reason why we did that and the power behind that. You know, just a few years ago, you could walk into one of the handicraft stores and buy a handicraft that was actually made in Philippines and made in China, that the tourists, when they came to Fiji, they bought that thinking they were Fijian products. And they paid a price for it, which they probably should not be paying. So what it meant essentially was that these people who were visiting us were actually leaving with a handicraft that was not authentically Fijian. It was just simply an imported item. And on the other hand, they were actually, in a way, not depriving our own people of an economic opportunity. So if you say to a tourist, in the same way, if you travel overseas, if you go to Australia and New Zealand and you want to buy a handicraft, you want that handicraft to be from that country, not something that is made out in another country. So what we did was we essentially said, how do we do this? And how do we begin it? So what we did was, we started on what we call a certification program. And that certification program meant that we had to authenticate. In other words, find out for real whether these products were actually made in Fiji and what was the material that was used to make this product and who made it. So if you are able to tick those boxes where predominantly they're all Fijian products and Fijian people have actually made it, then you can certify it to be authentically Fijian crafted, Fijian made, Fijian grown, Fijian sewn, Fijian packaged. There are different categories of products that we do have. So there are certain things, for example, you may make, say, a string of shells as a necklace. Authentically, the shells are from Fiji. The hands that put it together are from Fiji. But maybe the fishing line is not made in Fiji. You can see how complicated it can get. So you have to meet certain tests. If you meet those tests, then you get the certification. So the point that I'm trying to make is that when you get that certification, it is a certificate that you should value. It is a certificate that opens up doors for you. Because with that certification, you can walk into a store like Tapu's or Proud's or any of those outlets and say, look, I have actually been authenticated by the Ministry of Industry and Trade, and they have certified that my product is actually Fijian made, is Fijian crafted, and therefore they would be able to actually display your products. And the tourist does not mind paying a slightly higher price. I'm not saying you make your products very expensive. They don't mind paying a slightly higher price because when they take that back with them to their country, they say, hey, this was actually made in Fiji. And there's a story behind it. You can tell your story. Somebody's from Fulanga, somebody's from Naitasiri, somebody's from Ra. Wherever they are from, that's the story you tell. And you can have, if you go to certain countries, behind a particular handicraft, you have a little story that says, who made this? The women from this particular province made it, and this is how they made it. So it makes the product a lot more valuable. What it also does, it gives you an economic opportunity. It gives you the ability to increase your wealth, ability to actually make your products, and then also at the same time, be able to get a value for it. So you become less dependent on other people. You become less dependent on your husbands, become less dependent on your sons, become less dependent on welfare, whatever the case may be. So it actually has a multiplier effect. Now, the other point, of course, is that we want to ensure that you maintain the consistency. So if you, for example, take your product, it's certified, and 1 week you make your products very nicely. The other week you feel a bit lazy, you don't make it very nicely. And still want to get the same value, you won't get the same value. So the idea is that if you have the certificate, you must make sure that your quality of the product is always the same. Otherwise, people won't value the certificate. And once they don't value the certificate, every other certificate holder's certificate becomes worthless. So if I, for example, don't do a good product and I walk in and try and sell it, the next lady who may go in and try and sell it, she's actually made it nicely and say, oh, this must be like the other one. So it's a risk that we all share, and we must all support each other. If somebody is not doing it correctly, point out to your fellow sister or your relative, whoever it is, that please, because if you don't do it properly, we'll lose the momentum. The Ministry of Industry and Trade also is going to work together with the Ministry of Women to also find markets for you. You know, talk to stores and see if they can give you what we call product placement. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the plan throughout. And I'm glad to say that it's working well. It's of course also tied in with the microfinance that we provide. We provide up to $1,000. We know a number of women, for example, who benefited from it, where they used to, for example, sell certain products just to tourists and they make a little bit of a living out of it, but they're not able to go to the next step because the money they make from that day, they may actually use that money to buy some food or to pay for certain expenses. But if we gave them that additional $1,000 by letting them buy their products, they're able to then save money. So this also ties in with the microfinance facility that we are providing. So ladies and gentlemen, my plea to you, as I've said, please ensure that you safeguard the certificate. It's yours. It's a lot of value to you. The value of it will continuously increase. The value of it is also to the country itself. By doing that, we are becoming a lot more patriotic. We should not only be patriotic when Fiji plays rugby sevens. We should always be patriotic. If we do our little part in the same way that I'm saying to school students, when you're walking by the road or when you're in the bus, if you throw out your empty packet of twisties or your bottle of juice outside when you've drunk it, you are being unpatriotic because you are dirtying your country. I don't know how many of you have seen, but when the FRA comes and cuts the road by the side of the highway, you see all the rubbish gets revealed. It does not make it look good. So all of us have a responsibility in that respect. So I urge you that we are here. We're here to support you. The minister is here with her ministry. The Ministry of Industry and Trade is here. See, our government's vision, ladies and gentlemen, is not up to seeing up till our noses. We have plans for the future. We have to sometimes take small steps to be able to run very fast. And in some stages, we are actually taking those small steps. Now we're actually taking some bigger steps. You work with us. We're able to support you. We can achieve a lot more than what we have done today. But all of it must be done with a long-term perspective. And that's what good governments do. They think about the long-term goal. They don't only adhere to the here and the now. People come and give you some short stories here and there. Don't worry, I can fix it up. But they don't actually have a good plan in place. So for us, we believe as a government that in order to give you true freedom, true liberation, you must be economically empowered. Economic development, getting electricity, roads, water, all of that out to you, and giving you a source of income is what will make your life a lot more wholesome, give you a sense of dignity, and give you a sense of participation and indeed, of course, empowerment. So I wish to thank all of you. I know some of you have come from far away to participate in this expo. I'd like to thank all of you for participating. Let's all give each other a round of applause, all those of you who come from different areas. And let's also give a round of applause to the Minister, the Assistant Minister and the Permanent Secretary and their team. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Acting Prime Minister. Now let's call upon our partners in this exercise, the Fiji Arts Council.